Well, welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Miss Noa.
Hello.
Noa, random
How are
question
you?
for you, but you ever wonder why they call coffee coffee? Like there couldn't be another name out there?
Hmm. Interesting question. I never thought about that actually. No.
I literally just thought of it. I was like drinking a coffee and I was like, it tastes like the name, but what name would be better? And then I was like thinking of all the different names we have for like beer, like brews and whiskeys. I was like, those are manly staples. I was like, that's what you want to name your kid, a nice Java chip.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. That should be. Yeah, we should find a new name. Think about it and let me know.
so tell me a little bit about yourself and if you want what you do professionally.
All right. So as you said, my name is Noah. Noa. Noa. Very important. I always tell people, because then people, if it's with an age, people tend to think that I'm a guy. So obviously, it's without an age. In Israel, Noah is a very common name. Not from the Bible. She's also from the Bible, but from a different story. Anyway, so that is my name. 29 years old. I live in Israel. I'm originally from Jerusalem, but I live now for the last 80 years in Eilat, which is the southern city of Israel. Very hot here. Um, well, I have no idea how many Fahrenheit it would be, but I guess 100, around 100 now, which
Well,
is
you don't
pretty
need to
hot.
give me the daily weather buzz, but like what exactly is something that you do in Israel? For instance, I'm from the States. I've never actually been to Israel, even though apparently from ancestry.com I have ancestors that are from Israel for some reason.
Hmm.
But I don't know a whole lot about it. Only on the kind of religious side of things, but more of like
Yeah.
what is there to do? I know it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah. Well, actually, Israel is beautiful. Starting from me, I'm a scuba dive instructor for my living. I'm also a photojournalist. But basically, I work under the water. So starting from Eilat, which is right next to the Red Sea, very clear, loads of beautiful corals, beautiful fish, and so this is one thing you could do. It's very close to Jordan, just with the border of Jordan and Egypt. So amazing also to be on that place as well. And then we have the northern side, which is completely different. I mean, we're talking here, I live in the desert pretty much. And then the other side of Israel can be snowing in the winter. So we get snow on the mountain there and people go to ski, and we have amazing springs, you know, loads of history. Most people come for the history that we have here in Israel. So, but I actually love the fact that we have amazing landscapes, starting from desert to snow and to beautiful beaches. We have a Mediterranean,
That's a tough
which
one. I know. I can't even say that one.
yeah, it's hard, you know.
What made you want to become a scuba diver? Because like I mean I have so many questions only because like I mean I've been to Hawaii, I've been scuba diving, but I used to work on the water myself. I was a jet ski guide for so long. So I know
Oh,
you
cool.
if I was going to ask you to take me through like the basic whatever, if you're teaching somebody scuba diving, how would you get me ready or prepared to go on a scuba diving trip?
All right, so basically, I think the first step would to kind of get you prepared with the equipment, to kind of explain about the equipment, what's the use of each part, not really each part, but I mean, what do we use when we're breathing under the water, and what affects us under the water, which is mostly the pressure, which is exactly like on the airplane. So when we go under the water, we have the same pressure, and so equalizing our ears. And basically, this is the most important thing that we do need to make to be prepared for. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot to it. Just knowing a little bit about the equipment, about how to breathe right. I mean, not breathing too fast, not too slow, and then of course with the ears. That's pretty much everything to it, you know.
Is there anything you tell people to look out for or tell people maybe a cool site that they would come across or want to see? I know, I mean, there's got to be some dangers out there if you're scuba diving, right? I mean, I know you probably go to a safe area, but you know, every once in a while something can slip through.
Well, to be honest, for the last 8 years I've been diving, I have around 7,000 dives, which is not a small amount. And thankfully, touch wood, um, nothing dangerous ever happened to me. The biggest dangers that you have are people. So eventually, if you reach out and try to touch something that you don't know what it is, obviously something cannot happen to you. But if you're keeping all the rules and everything, nothing should happen. I mean, and that's what we try, of course, about to tell people when we're going into the water. I mean, just keep your eyes open, look look at everything, look at the water, look around you, but I mean, definitely don't touch anything.
Yeah, I
You
think
never know what
people.
it is, and also we do want to respect the lives down there. It's their home, so yeah.
Yeah, I think one of probably the biggest problems is a lot of people don't realize is that like when you're going and you're renting, doing jet skis, or if you're doing scuba diving, or if you're going out on a trip on the water, there's so much out there to look at. There's fish. I mean, like I got hit by a jet ski because the guy wasn't paying attention. And that was because there's horses, there's all this stuff. You're driving off, I don't know, God knows what. You're in like future land, just looking around everywhere, seeing all the beautiful sights. You're not paying attention to your surroundings, which is like the biggest problem. It's like if you decide, to go driving and you decide to just stare out, the back window the whole time while you're driving, not paying attention to what's in front of you. It's like,
Yeah.
dangers can happen. And like like if you had to explain to me like one of your most memorable trips, like one that really sticks in your head, doesn't have to be bad, it could be a really good experience. Like maybe like for me, every time I wake up, I live in a beach town, so when I go over to the bridge in the morning, which is, I mean, you're going right to the ocean basically, right where all the rest of the city is, the town is, you see the beautiful beaches. I get to see the sunrise every morning. I used to do that on my jet ski. I used to hit that 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. ride, see that sunrise where it's nice and red just coming up right on the water, beautiful with horses around. And then on sunset on the way back after 12 hours of being on the water, we would see the sunset come down, and it's not red anymore, it's orange. It was something there, you could feel it in the air. You were like, oh my God, like your skin's tingling just because it feels like at that moment, everything around you is at peace.
Oh yeah, well, that sounds incredible. Of course, there's tons of experiences that I had. Are you talking about specifically in diving or in general?
If you want to go with diving first, then you go into the general.
All right, so in diving, I mean, let's say I was just working in the Bahamas just before the COVID-19 kind of destroyed everything, if you can say. And I was working in a Club Med resort, and one day it was one of my first. I think my second week there as a scuba dive instructor, and I go with a group and we go down. And as we go down, I see this very not shy dolphin coming straight at me and to my group and just surrounding us, making squeaks and just being really friendly and being really not shy, just coming to us and playing with us. At the same moment, I look down and I see three reef sharks just, flying over the reef and a stingray just right next to it. Not only that, there is just next to it like a barracuda, yeah, a huge barracuda just swimming next to us. I was like, am I living in a dream right now? I mean, because I
That
should
doesn't
wake
sound like
up.
a dream. That sounds like a nightmare. Holy crap. Oh my
And that
God.
and that is not a nightmare because the three reef sharks, I mean, especially I don't know, yeah, a white shark. You never know. This is a big shark. You probably wouldn't want to run into a white shark, but most sharks out there are really safe. Like they're not into eating you, so they're actually pretty afraid of you. So when you go down there and you see all these beautiful animals, and you have someone taking care of you. I mean, obviously this is nature, and these animals are not there to hurt you. So as a dive instructor, you are there to give them security, like you want to make them
Yeah.
feel safe. And so of course you tell them what's out there, and it's beautiful. And once you see it with this beautiful visibility out there in the Bahamas, it's just crazy experience. And for me, I mean, this is all I want to meet when I go into the water. I really want to meet these animals, and when then you see all these animals all at once, this was one of the biggest experiences that I had.
Have you ever come
probably.
across an animal where you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that, or been kind of freaked out by it? Like for me, I mean, I've been around hammerhead sharks before. The weird thing
Yep.
is, like, where I've jet skied, we don't go in the ocean for the renters, we go in the bay. So
Hmm.
the bay is a lot shallower than the ocean is. So the sharks like to come over into our bay and have their babies. You know, that's where they like to release them. And
Yeah.
I was jet skiing in my riding area and I see this giant boat, this cruise kind of ship, kind of like maybe 100 people on there, like a fishing charter, come by, and I'm like on my jet ski and they're all taking photos. I thought they're taking photos of the jet skis and all that, so I was like flexing on my jet ski, getting the muscles all glaring. I put out my calves because my calves are amazing. I had them all bent over and I was like, look at that, and then I just see this giant fin and I felt my heart drop into like the
Oh
bottom of
my
my
God.
stomach, and I was like, "What is that?" And then they're taking a picture of this hammerhead shark, and my boss calls me on the radio and tells me, "Hey, don't let any of the riders fall into the water. There's a hammerhead shark that has worked its way into our riding area and is trying to have its babies. So make sure all these renters can stay on their jet ski. If you know people." And you know how crazy people like to be. These guys are going up on their jet skis trying to splash each other. They're racing. They're trying to do tricks. They're trying to do whatever. They're just going crazy. People are flying off left and right. I'm like, that's not going to happen. Um, but yeah, we tried our hardest to keep them on their jet skis while this thing was out there. But it was so interesting because, like, I'm just going from being completely oblivious to the dangers or just the knowledge of what else is out there. And I just see this freaking hammerhead approach right beside me. And I don't think I've ever stopped dead like that before. I mean, it's got to be the same feeling if someone pulls out a gun against somebody. That was what it was like me. I was looking at my calves. I was like, look at this, and I just see this hammerhead. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. I mean, it actually sounds like a super scary experience. I mean, I'd probably be the same, even though I'm a scuba dive instructor and you want to meet these animals. I mean, when it surprises you like this, you don't know how to react. But eventually, when you do know them ahead of time, you know that they're not dangerous. I mean, definitely if you're not trying to harm them, then then yeah, then you just find this so beautiful. But yeah, of course, well, I think I also had an amazing experience. It was pretty scary at first, but I saw a whale shark when I was diving with another, as I work in dive center in Elat, it's mostly introduction dive. So you take people to dive with dolphins every day and hand in hand. And then one day I just go and I do my almost regular round. And I go on my way back. Suddenly I see something huge next to me and I go, oh shit, and it's just like like a huge whale shark next to me. And the funny thing, it was so huge, but it was a baby.
Yeah.
Literally 5 meters animal, and it was literally a baby. And I think it was one of the craziest moments where you're like, exactly like you said, you're like your heart just drops in a second. You're like, oh my freaking God, if I didn't know anything about this animal, I would probably piss my in the wetsuit
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Do you ever have like this is like a weird kind of question, but like when you're going out on like a trip where you're about to, do you ever feel like you ever have to bail and say we can't do this today. We can't go out. This is I don't feel right. Like you have a weird feeling because I always talk about like accidents, like doing jet skis, you'll be surprised accidents happen a lot. People hitting each other, not anything serious,
Yeah.
but like um over the past couple of years, remember when I got into my jet ski accident, I was hit by a renter going 40 miles an hour. So he went up me like a ramp and hit me dead in my chest. But that whole trip, I was like, you could just feel it. Like there was something different. Like, I don't want to take this trip out. I don't feel like this is going to go well, or there's just something, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And I've talked to a few other guys that have had experiences where they've gone out on a trip and gotten hurt, been taken to the hospital. And they've always said, I don't know, I just didn't feel right before. I'm like, is that a way of us, like our bodies foreshadowing what's going to happen? I was wondering if you ever had an experience like that where you're about to take a trip out with some people and you're like, I don't know about this, guys.
Yeah. It's a good question. I think that first of all, when you go out, usually you go out, for example, on a boat with the captain and with some other instructors. And so if it's nature wise and it's something that is related to storms or bad weather and everything, you have other people to consult with. But there are also definitely people that you do get like a feeling of how they're going to be in the water. And I did, I think I had a few times where I felt, okay, this person, I don't know, maybe there's something about this guy or this woman that it just doesn't seem right. Maybe this person is too afraid and I don't want to lead him or her into this dive where I know he's going to flip out. So it did happen to me, and you have to read this scenarios ahead of time. And once you do, you, I mean, you should have enough experience to be able to understand it ahead of time. And then if you do, you just, you go to these people and you talk to them and you see what's going on with them. This is the whole beauty of being a instructor, because it's in your hands to kind of feel how your people feel. But other than this, I don't feel that I ever ran into a real scenario where I felt a danger would happen, because you do have ways to kind of understand what's going to happen. But in terms of nature wise, I don't think I ever had something like this,
Yeah,
actually.
I've tried to like narrow it down to something where I've just been sitting on the dock. Like I don't feel like this ride's gonna go well. But what I thought was gonna go wrong, like if we went out, like we would go out in northeasterns or tropical storms on jet skis where waves in the bay were like the ocean. And I mean it's dangerous, but as long as there's no lightning, people are gonna want to rent skis. So you're sitting there getting hit by like bullets of rain basically while you're moving 60 something miles an hour on the water, just getting there hitting you, you're sitting there,
Yeah.
and like, I mean, that's what I was expecting. And then one time I hit a seagull. There was a
Oh wow.
seagull, like, there was a thing called an Ultra 300, which is like supercharged jet ski. I mean, it can go probably 85 on flat water. So my
Oh
boss
wow.
used to be like, just take it out in the morning, man. Go for a ride, Rob. And I would just take it from one side of the Ocean City all the way to Ocean Pines, which is like a full-on bay. I mean, it's a couple miles just lengthwise. I took it all the way down and all the way back. And as I'm coming back into this channel, it's called a no wake zone, which means just tap the throttle. Don't put any gas on it. Just float it through. No waves. You can't make a wake. And as I'm doing that, I see a seagull lying in the water. And I'm like, he's going to get up. I mean, he's going to get up. There's no way he's going to let me run right into him. Thing flew up last second. And the way it flew up was like with me going forward, but he flew up and hit me in the shoulder, and it was like I got shot with a shotgun. My whole shoulder blew back. I thought I was going to flip off the jet ski. I was like, did anybody just see that? And there's this one dude at the dock that sees it, and he's like, no way. And I roll up. I'm like, what? He goes, dude, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. He goes, you killed that seagull. I said, what? And I turn around, this seagull, oh my, it was dead. But no, that was insane. That was his
Ah.
fault, though. That wasn't mine.
Well, that should comfort you though. But it does sound like, I mean, he was not very cautious.
It's like when you see, like, you see a squirrel or a bird in the road and they fly away like last minute. Like that's exactly like I couldn't slow down. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything because the jet ski's moving. I'm just like, I'm not using the gas anymore. I'm just slowing down from 85. And that thing flew up last minute. And I swear to God, if I wasn't holding on to that jet ski, I think would have thrown me off. He goes, dude, that's like a 1 in a million chance of that happening. I was like, I don't know what it was, but I need to ice my shoulder.
Oh my God. I mean, must have been really sad though. Like for you for a minute, oh my God, I just killed this little.
I cried about it. I'm not going to lie. I definitely still think about it to this day. But I mean, there are amazing things too, like, that you probably get just by even doing, instruction, and then also going maybe some of it on your own just in free time, like getting to see the water. We all have a certain memory that hits us when that we see water, you know. For me, when I go and cross over to my town every day, I remember so many trips that I used to take doing jet skis with helping people out, going on boats, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, everything, where I'm trying to help people do my job. They want to rent jet skis. And I have so many distinctive memories. I was sitting there the other day with my buddy on his birthday, and I was just pointing out spots. I was like, dude, over there, I did this, over there, I did that, over there. Some dude caught a beer when I had him on the hoverboard, and I was just like spouting off memories. And he goes, dude, it sounded like it was awesome. And I was like, it had its moments. I'm pretty sure you probably have the same thoughts too.
Oh yeah, I mean there were beautiful moments, on the water and just being on the boat, going to a dive, or Not necessarily, just every time you're in the water or just being under the water or just coming up or going down to a dive, just incredible memories, when you're thinking about, I don't know, I guess in a lot, it's the Red Sea, so it's very well known for good visibility. So when you're up there and you're just about to go into the water and you see how clear it is down there, just it's beautiful. And also in the Bahamas, I mean, you can see how the the oh my, it's just so many different, you have blue and you have turquoise and you have it's crazy how many types of blue you can see in the Bahamas. It's just this moment when you go on the boat and you see the water just it's like oil,
Yeah.
so flat, and it's crazy. Yeah. And
You
I
get to
don't know
see that spray of the mist from like the wake of
oh
the
yeah.
boat that kind of comes up off the side when you're driving or something. You get to feel it off the side, stick your hand out, get your hand a little bit. It feels like mist is going through it. I mean, no better feeling. I don't know. A lot of people always look like I'm afraid of the ocean. Everyone, it's like it's not about being afraid of it. It's about respecting it. Know what's in there and what it holds, but understand that,
Exactly.
like for a lot of people, especially me. I mean, I grew up around the water, so that's my meditation zone. If I ever want to
Exactly.
relax, just go out and sit on the water, listen to nothing, no chop. No, I mean, I'm always like, because our weather down here fluctuates so crazy. It'll be like, it's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow. Then it's the next day and it's like rainy, 20 degrees, hail, everything. And it's like, that's the opposite. But like, I would always pick out, I'd be like, just watch the water. Look at the water. Is it choppy?
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's windy out, it's going to be choppy waters. If it looks like it's going to be cloudy, I guarantee you the water's going to be pretty calm. It's a whole flip flop back and forth when it comes to like the link of with the water and then also what the weather is like. But I'm like, this is an amazing experience, and like just like you doing in scuba instructing, when you're teaching people, you're trying to show them these amazing experiences, and that gets difficult when people are trying to have fun at the same time because they don't think fun can be, safety can be fun. But I'm like, it's actually pretty crucial, especially when you get down there and you got a reef shark under you.
Exactly. No, but I think that actually people, once you prepare them for everything that can happen and things that they need to be aware of, then I mean, then it gets simple. And I think that also people coming to do a course are naturally respecting the sea. People who don't care too much about the sea, about the ocean, it seems that a lot of people just wouldn't try it, wouldn't go diving. Maybe because they're afraid, maybe because thousands of reasons, But I mean, it seems to me that a lot of people that came to do the course, most people, are aware of the dangers and want to know how to dive right and how to be able to protect themselves. And if something does uh, happen, some kind of danger happens, and it looks like most people are aware, and then they let themselves enjoy it much more. So yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to do with this later? Like, do you want to stay a scuba instructor? Do you want to own your own company? Do you have any type of water conservation plans? I mean, I know you say you're an avid photographer too. And when I was looking, I
Mhm.
was like, I mean, obviously, because all the beautiful sites that are down there, they're picture perfect moments. I don't know how many times I was out on the water. I was like, I wish I had my phone on me to take a picture. This is before a little bit before waterproof phones were like a staple now. So it's like you wanted to take a picture of those moments. But have you ever thought about maybe doing water conservation or maybe your own instructing school?
Well, to be honest, when I first became a scuba dive instructor, that was pretty much to enable me to travel the world and pass on my passion to other people. And because as a scuba dive instructor, you can be accepted to many beautiful places around the world. So for me, the moment when you go on a vacation, you're like counting down the days, like counting the days backwards until it finishes, the vacation finishes, not in a bad way where you're not enjoying it, exactly the opposite. And I was like, damn, I hate this. I want to have a vacation that lasts forever. So I became a scuba dive instructor exactly for this. I wanted to a vacation to last forever. For me, being a dive instructor is naturally doing something I love in a place where you can only dream working and teaching and being in the water all day in like a place. So this is mostly for this time of my life. But I think the photography, has been going on for the last 13 years, and I'm mostly talking about photography outside of the water, where I've been doing and studying. So I think this will take this will take over at some point. And but for now, I'm just enjoying the life under the water. You know what? You never know. I'm also open to have this for my entire life. I haven't thought about creating a dive school. I like being part of a dive center. I don't know if going that far of having a school of my own, but you know what? I never thought I'd become a dive instructor. I started as a underwater photographer in the place where I work with the dolphins. So, and then I became instructor. So you know what? You never know. Maybe in 1 year I'll be like, doesn't seem that complicated. Let's just,
You're
try
definitely
and
not
do it.
suited for an office job, I can tell you that.
Oh, no, 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 no.
That's literally how I am. Like, I don't feel like I fit in anywhere when it comes to a lot of these places. Is everything in my town, yeah, you can work, but it's all restaurant gigs. It's all like, working in an office, working in a hotel. I'm like, this is not what I want to do. I was like, I want to do something where I don't feel like I'm restrained the whole time. Like you have free limits to act or do what you really want. I mean, being
Exactly.
in the ocean, you're a scuba instructor. You might have a boss, but once you get down there, you have free movement to do whatever you really want. I mean, it's freedom. Same thing with a photography photo. I mean, if you're looking at going out and taking pictures of stuff, there's beautiful sites out there that people are never going to see because they're stuck behind four walls every single day. They're staring at the desktop on their computer is the farthest they'll go to travel. And it's like, man, don't you want to go out and explore the world?
Exactly, exactly. And you know what? I see these type of people all the time, and it drives me crazy sometimes because these type of people, they come to me and they say, oh my god, your life is absolutely amazing. I mean, look at what you're doing, look at, I mean, where you are. And I'm like, I created my reality, this is what I chose. I think that most people are just afraid to go out of their comfort zone. I mean, most people would have wanted to do the same thing like I do. And not everybody, but a lot of people want to do it, and then they're afraid of it. And I think this is the beautiful part where you create your reality and you're not afraid to go wild and to go out and try to travel on your own and to arrive to new places where, yeah, you're the only Israeli on the island. I mean, it seems crazy, it seems a bit lonely, but I mean, it gets better. You meet new people, and then a lot of people call me brave, brave for going out and traveling on my own and just like, but I don't feel brave because I mean, I don't. It's
I
just
think
part of me.
it's all the part of the perspective too. I mean, if we look at like the people that don't ever want to go out compared to the people that always dream of wanting to do it, there are people like that. I mean, I'm more than happy just, never being super rich, but just getting enough to get by. I'm more than happy. I just want to get by. That's it. And, there's people that want an extreme amount of wealth. There's people that want an extreme amount of fame. There's people that want to go travel the world. And there's people that never want to leave. And it's like, I get it. I think the biggest fear for us all is the fact is we don't
Yeah.
want to know the answer to that question. If we do go or something, are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to make that dream a reality? And I think you took a big shot by doing that too, by being
Yeah,
like, I don't want to stay stuck somewhere, because I feel like that's what
exactly.
happens with a lot of people. Um, when it comes to like, taking photography and stuff too, like for people out there that, I mean, it's coming pretty popular, I would say. I think COVID definitely got people to look inside of themselves a little bit and figure out what they wanted to do. A
Yeah.
lot of people picked up hobbies, and I think photography was definitely one of them. But why is it so fascinating to you,
To do photography or scuba diving?
photography?
Wow. I mean, I know. I guess I've been looking. When you see a moment and you capture it on your mind, and you're thinking at some point this memory is gonna fade away because of age or whatever. And sometimes you're just thinking of borders, and you're thinking, oh, this could have been really beautiful, in a frame. And I think that this is what got me mostly into it, because there are so many beautiful places around the world that, if not having photos, I mean, I don't know, I guess that I'm afraid that my memories will abandon it at some point, and then I won't have anything left. And this is my passion, creating memories, creating beautiful moments, and putting it on a photo. I mean, on a frame.
Did you have someone that suffered from something like that? that like Alzheimer's or something, because like the way you explained that was the same way I started thinking about it when I was a kid. My great grandfather slowly started losing his mind. So like, he
Hmm.
was forgetting a lot of things. He couldn't remember a lot of things, but we would always look through photos, and like just hearing him be like, "We did that." I was like, "Yeah." Like hearing that, like it sucked, and it kind of made me tear up. At the same time, I was like, this is why this stuff is important, because you
Yeah,
don't know what you're missing most of the time. I mean, you don't want a phone in front of your face the whole time taking photos, but going out and on a hike or something, and then you catch a moment where someone's like roasting a marshmallow, like your nephew roasting his first marshmallow, or your daughter, or your kid, whatever. Those are experiences you want to have categorized so you can always look back later on. Because I mean, I don't know how many times as a kid I took for granted field trips with my grandparents, going somewhere. I don't want to go. Come on, we're going. Now I look back, I'm like, damn, I really wish they would take me to Disney World again.
exactly. Exactly. I don't know. It's like, wow, I feel like I have so many things to say. At first, I think that, yeah, I actually in my life, um, I only have one person that I met a few years ago, not that many years ago, but just like 3 years ago, that uh, has an Alzheimer. It seems that slowly, is, she's starting to forget things. And it made me feel how important photography is even more. But I think, first of all, also people, people that were in your life, as I lost one, my first love. And I thinking I have a project with this person that I did a photography project. Today I can look at all these photos. I mean, it for me brings this person alive. And you are definitely right when you don't want to stick to your phone the entire time, or to your camera, and live behind the lens, behind your camera, behind your lens the entire time. This is also wrong. But one friend did tell me once, and I do remember her sentence till today. She said, first of all, when you arrive to a situation, when you arrive to a place and you see an extraordinary moment, you first have to live it without taking any photos. And once you lived it, fine. But first of all, like, be there. Don't run away straight away to your camera. Of course, it's not always possible because I'm a photojournalist and it's all about capturing moments. But when I'm seeing a beautiful sunrise, I'm first trying to enjoy it as much as possible, and first to experience on my own, and then after to capture the moment. And you know what? This feeling of capturing a moment on my camera, and this is also a thing that got me into photography, is this moment when I take this picture, I look at it, and I feel like, wow. It's just something in your heart that just like, wow, this is, I got it. I got this moment. I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
Do you think that that feeling is more amplified when you take one out of a Polaroid rather than take one on your phone? Like, I feel like the ones where I have it in my hand and you have to shake it and you put it up on the wall, I feel like
Hmm.
that has more of a connection to the deeper meaning in the photo than my phone does. Because I'm looking at my phone, just scrolling through mindless pictures of like deals at the grocery store, or like a certain rock I found on the ground, and I'm like, this is nothing to me. But I look at a Polaroid picture of like my family together, and I'm like, that's 100% everything I could ever want. All right, you guys.
All right, so I can definitely. Oh yeah, so when I started with photography, actually, way before I started with photography, I did learn how to do it like the real way, you can call it. And then I don't know, a few years later, when I got really into photography, it was straight away when cameras, compact cameras starting to take place and everything. And I almost forgot about how it felt to do it the real way, you can call it. And slowly, it became really addicting to kind of take as many photos as you like, and then edit the good ones. And I almost forgot about it. Of course, there's something special about doing it the old way, the old-fashioned way. Although I did just pass a course by with the time that I spent in my house during the corona, and I passed a course of a workshop of smartphone photography. So I do have belief today that with the technology, you can create beautiful memories in whatever that you take. But again, I do have a lot of respect to the old fashioned way. And I think that people that do have their old cameras with them and still doing it that way, something about them, I feel that you know, this is how it should be, just like memorizing this memories in this kind of way. But of course, I mean, I can't blame the technology, and I love it as well. I don't know.
I like it like a little bit of a story when you get to see a photo. You get to see basically what that person saw at that moment as well, whoever took that, because we're all noticing something different. Like I remember skating through my town, and I would stop and hop off my skateboard, and I would grab like my phone and get in a really weird angled position where I'm like laying on the street, but I have the phone tilted in a perfect way to catch the light at a certain angle. My buddy's just looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Did you not see what this is?" And I show him the picture or something. He'd be like, "I didn't see that." He goes, "That's really cool. How'd you get that angle?" And I'm like, "You just gotta look a little bit too." But some people have an eye for it. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, my grandmom, she did something which I praise her now for, but back in the day, did never understood when I was a kid, was keep books of all of our memories, all our Vegas trips. We went to Vegas
Yeah.
so many times, we went to Hawaii so many times. Next thing I know, like I'm looking through this book, it's me and my brother who don't get along at all, and we're like little kids, and we're sleeping in the same bed, sharing a bed in the hotel room, whatever. He's got his arm wrapped around me, and she just puts the only time they weren't fighting. And I'm like, oh my, like we're having this. We're like, no way. And like, obviously there's the baby pictures where you're like, these need to be burned. And then, but like, it's cool to have those experiences and have those moments. Like, I mean, I'll be 20 or something, and I'll probably be scrapbooking. Like, I mean, I'm 22 right now, but I'm more than happy to start that up because I have so many pictures on my phone that I have backed up to like OneDrive, all these things now. But I'm like, I want to go to the store and just print them out because there are moments you're gonna
Yeah.
miss. I have people in my photo category on like Instagram or something that aren't here anymore. I mean, they're not alive anymore. So looking back and
True.
seeing that, it's like they're so impactful. They can move you to tears.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, it's slowly passing away, all this photo books as well. And actually, I have a folder on my computer that is called photo books, and it's with all the places that I visited, like folders of all the places that I lived in and I traveled in. It's just waiting, just adding photos to these folders for one day that I will be able to print them as photo books and just to have them on in my house. And it's just much better than having all the photos. You keep having more and more photos, and they're all buried in this hard disk, and that you know you'll probably never go and ruffle around. Me as a photographer, yes, much more because I edit my photos and I keep the good ones in a place. But I see how my friends are taking more and more photos, and they're never going to go back to them. And yeah, I think it's good what your grandma did, and it's also kept a lot of memories that you probably wouldn't think that ever existed if you ever haven't seen a photo of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we were
true.
looking through the garage, and I was cleaning it out. I mean, nobody's really been in that garage for like 20 something years. So like since I was a little kid, besides putting stuff in it, never really looking around. And I knocked over one of those giant Tupperware things, like the things you would store stuff in, the storage bins. Photos just started flying out, the old ones, and there's like little pictures of me, but they're like not good quality like you would see on like uh Instagram or something where it's like, whoa, that guy added a filter. This is like staring at a shoe, taking a picture with their thumb in front of the lens. And I'm like, who's taking these photos? She's like, it was your grandfather. And he's like, I'm a good photographer. And I'm looking, I'm like, I'm not even in this one. You just took a picture of the wall. He goes, you were running too fast. I'm like, but you still printed it out. Like, he's like, I loved it. It's just those moments. And it was an eye opening experience for me. But like, I'm a big avid fan of taking pictures of nature. I find that's like the most peaceful to me. I'll put up a sunrise photo or a sunset photo just because I love the way that it looks. I love the calming and cooling colors that they can have on them.
Hmm.
What do you typically prefer to take pictures of? Do you like take pictures of animals or?
Actually, animals is not my field so much, but actually, yeah, nature photography is one of my favorites. I think landscapes, and also street photography is something that I fancy. Taking pictures of moments. As of like, I was in Nepal visiting this place called the Bricks Factory, and just going there and taking photos of what they do. People, just special people, special cultures, special places around the world. I think that fascinates me the most. Yeah, and nature, and also studio photography. So taking people and which is funny that I go from landscapes to street photography and then to the most, super official kind of, that everything is directed.
Well, the nature photography is a lot like the street photography. It's just a modern day of nature of what nature is technically considered now. I mean, I do the
Exactly.
Nightcrawler thing where you ever seen the movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal? He
No, I don't think so.
he's a reporter, but he sets up events to get the scoop for news. So he would set up a car crash, and then he would get it on camera first on the scene. As a photographer, you set yourself up sometimes for a shot. Like sometimes, like I've seen photos on Instagram, people taking a picture of their breakfast at a diner, but I'll notice that they'll have it so like it's like a coffee on top of a newspaper, then the newspaper's crumbled, and I'm like, yo, you crumbled that newspaper up perfectly to make that shot. And it's funny because once you actually start doing photography and you get really interested in it, you start being able to point out what people are doing. You're like, oh, you did that to make this effect. You did that. And it's interesting how you could have that whole other perspective on things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, yeah, I mean, I never exactly when you start looking at, like you said, in photography, you start recognizing all the things that people do. That's true. I mean, but I mean, actually, that remind me also of a movie of, I don't know if you saw, Walter May, Walter Mitty, which also a beautiful movie that contains a lot of photography in it. Did you see it?
I have not seen that movie, but I mean, have you like, okay, so what exactly, all right, so what's the movie called again?
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's actually with
Oh my God.
Ben
I
Ben I forgot
Ben Affleck, right?
Ben Affleck? No, not Ben Affleck. Ben Stiller? Or
Ben
am I
Stiller?
wrong?
Is that the guy from Night at the Museum?
Yes, I think
That's
so.
Ben
And
Stiller.
Zoolander yeah, yeah, exactly. Ben Stiller and Zoolander.
Do you ever try and like when you're doing street photography, it's a lot easier to kind of set up a first shot, but do you ever like place a crumbled can, or do you ever do something where you're trying to get a perfect image? You're like, this would be way better if this was right here. You know, you set something up like that.
Not in street photography, because in street photography everything needs to be kind of as it was meant to be. So, I mean, this is actually not legal if to change the reality, because if you're doing street photography, you're all into capturing the moment. Then if you're doing something else and creating something that you wanted to have because you didn't have it, then that's pretty much cheating. I don't do this, but I mean, if I do take photos of nature, then maybe I will direct it the way I want it. Like, I would put someone into the frame, or I also try not to do this, and I also try to go along with what I have. But in nature photography, sometimes I would put someone there. But in street photography, when you're trying to capture a moment, especially photojournalistic photos, you're never supposed to be touching them. So, but I mean, yeah, Instagram photos, if I do an Instagram photo and I do something that I'm not going to sell, I'm not going to do that, it doesn't mean a lot to me, then I do whatever I want. But if it's street photography and you capturing a moment of a woman crying, then you're not going to put, I don't know what, in front, like a dead animal. So there, you just, I don't know.
Well,
It's
you talk
just,
about travel photography too. Where do you want? Is there anywhere that you want to travel left to that you want to take pictures for?
oh yeah, there's always more places to go to, and also some places to go back to. But I think that my country, I never visited there yet, but I always had a crave to go there, and it's New Zealand, because it's tons of landscapes. And something gets me the feeling, this weird game that they had in on Facebook, where you're like, what kind of country you would be like, what the country that fits you the most. So I did this little thing, and actually it gave me New Zealand, because of the things that I like while traveling, which is treks and like doing hiking and photography and landscape. So this is what I wait for, I think, the most. But I do want to give it the respect that it deserves, So I don't want to just go there while doing a different trip. I want to go there, taking a van or something. I don't know.
We can talk about giving photos respect, but I have to ask, what is your dumbest photo you've ever taken? I will give you one of mine. I went to
Okay.
Hawaii and I spent basically 10, 15 minutes trying to get a koi fish perfectly out of the water to like not all the way out, but just the head. all the way up after when he was so I'd sit there and feed him and I would wait. I sat there with my phone, like not even, I mean, an inch away from the water. And I caught this koi fish perfectly coming up out of the water with this open mouth, freaking facial expression. And I captured it. I'll send it to you. You get to laugh too. But my buddy was like, that is the dumbest photo. I was like, it is the funniest photo ever. He's like, dude, you're missing a sunset. They're talking about the green flash, that thing that's supposed to be when the sun hits the horizon, it's supposed to bring a green flash. He's like, you're missing that because you're taking a picture of a koi fish. I was like, people say that's the hardest thing to see. This is super easy to see. And this is bringing me way more joy.
Oh, wow. That sounds a very funny photo. I would like to see that. Interesting. I don't know. I'm thinking of a dumb photo. I'm probably gonna have something, but I will need to look it up and then send it to you. But I nothing pops into my mind at the moment. But I do remember a lot of moments, the photos that I took that are incredible. But a dumb moment.
Could be a funny one too. I mean, if you end up like taking a picture of someone snorting milk out of their nose. I had plenty of those moments where we're at breakfast or something. My grandma's trying to take a photo. Everybody's trying to eat eggs or something. And like, there's a picture of me at a Hawaii breakfast. I'm sticking a sunny or one of those runny eggs in my mouth. And it's like, I bit right into it. I look over at her like it's too early for this. And this egg yolk is just straight up dripping all the way down. It is the funniest moment, but she puts that on like the front of these books and she ships them out to us for like Christmas or something. You're just looking through like, man, like, that's why I think that's super important is you want to have those memories categorized
Exactly.
forever. I mean, like you said, you don't know how long your memory could last. You could end up, elderly or something and just want to look back on those moments.
Exactly, exactly. And this is also very important. It's not all only about taking photos who are, wow, the landscapes and everything, street photography, everything's so serious. It's also about these little moments in life where you just take with your cell phone. Eventually, it's a memory, it sticks with you. And then of your moments where you're like, something goes out of your nose and everything. And of course, I have funny memories of people taking photos of me when I'm like, literally, I do not want this photo be seen by anyone, but you don't want to erase it because it's just a memory. Eventually you look at it and you'll be like, oh my god, what a moment. I'm so happy and thankful to have this captured.
Yeah. I think it's important that at least with the future generations coming up, I mean, we have the amazing technology, photos literally at our fingertips. I mean, these devices are in our pockets so much. This is the benefit I see with technology is always being able to have these moments because much like we're looking back on a photo or looking back on something, it's not only a part of the memory, it's the memory. Like it
Exactly.
leads up everything. I was at my buddy, like I said, it was his birthday the other day. We're sitting at his house just scrolling through all of our old Instagram photos. Oh, this one's from 2015. This one's from 2014. And that's like 6 years ago. And we're looking through and like, I'm like, hey, remember this? He goes, yeah, remember that morning? And it leads the whole memory of that whole
Exactly.
entire day. I'm like, it's not just that moment, it's the
Exactly.
whole thing. We remember like eating Chick-fil-A after school, all these types of things, getting a chocolate milkshake. I got arrested at this chicken place for knocking off chicken crumbs off of my shirt. A cop thought I was hiding drugs and I was just dusting off some fried chicken off my
No
shirt.
kidding.
But like we were laughing at that, and his mom's like looking at us like, "You guys never told us this," and we're like, "We're just now remembering that whole day from that one little
Exactly.
photo."
Exactly. You're so right. And you know what? It comes to my mind the more you speak about how thankful I am for photography. And this is exactly also about it. When you see a photo and it just your memories, not only about this moment, about other moments as well that you wouldn't have remembered unless you saw this photo, and this reminded you of other things. You're definitely right. It's incredible.
I guess a picture does really say 1,000 words.
Exactly. And more than this, probably.
Well, I really appreciate you coming out and doing the podcast and chatting with me for a little bit.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me to do it.
Is there anything you want to promote, such as your Instagram page or where people can find some of your work?
Well, I do have all of these. So I do have my Instagram, which is Noa Siti. And so this is my Instagram. And it's just I have a long name. So for Facebook, it's Noah City Eliyahu. But I mean,
I'll make sure I link it all. Whatever you want, you send it to me. I'll make sure I link it all in the
awesome.
description so people could just click right on it. But I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank podcast. And stay tuned for our next episode.